Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this deeply fascinating material today. We're going to be exploring the overwhelming scale of ancient power, wealth, and cosmic authority. But we're looking at it through a very specific, deeply human, and frankly dark lens. Pure, unadulterated jealousy. We're literally unpacking the profound psychological breakdown of a man watching his rival achieve the ultimate success. Okay, let's dive into this. Listen to this incredibly raw quote. "I am plunged into grief and becoming pale and emaciated." Now, you might be wondering, what could possibly make the powerful Duryodhana feel this physically devastated? I mean, he hasn't been wounded in a great war, right? He hasn't contracted some terrible illness. No. What we're witnessing here is the sheer psychological torture of seeing his coven's unprecedented triumph. To really understand this deep despair, we first have to see exactly what he saw. Section 1. The ultimate power display. To truly grasp the depth of Duryodhana's misery, we have to look at the objective facts of Yudhishthira's triumph. We have to witness the unimaginable, overwhelming scale of this event. Imagine just standing there, exactly as Duryodhana did. You're immediately barraged with a total sensory overload of wealth. The text specifically details many thousands of wild kine brought alongside as many gleaming vessels of white copper, just from milking them. This isn't some simple, polite gift-giving ceremony. It's a massive, unprecedented influx of resources brought by the kings of the earth as sacrificial presents. It is an economic flex of epic proportions happening right in front of his face. Section 2. Kings as servants. Now, what's really interesting about this dynamic is how the situation builds from mere material wealth into an astonishing display of dominance over human beings. We're looking at a VIP list of the ancient world's most powerful sovereign rulers. But look at what they're actually doing. The ruler of Magadha is handling garlands. King Ekalavya, he's managing shoes. The king of Kashi is holding a bow, and the king of the south is just standing ready with a coat of mail. These are monarchs who rule vast lands, now completely reduced to the role of humble everyday servants for Yudhishthira. It paints a picture of absolute, undisputed dominance. And the displays of wealth get hyper-specific. Take the number 60, for example. The great warrior, Vasudana, didn't just bring standard gold or jewels. No, he brought an incredibly rare 60-year-old elephant. Bringing an animal of that specific maturity, size, and rarity requires immense logistical resources. Every single hyper-specific detail like this that Duryodhana notices is just another blow to his ego. It's a constant, glaring reminder of what he completely lacks. Section 3. Divine artifacts and rituals. This brings us to a major shift. We see that this sacrifice wasn't just a political summit. It was elevated to a literal cosmic event. I mean, look at this legendary lineup. Tamya, the great Vyasa, and Narada are the ones sprinkling the sacred water. You have Satyaki holding the umbrella. Dhananjaya and Bhima are actively fanning the king, while the twins hold the chamaras. Yudhishthira isn't just attended by subjugated kings anymore. He has legendary ascetics, sages of immense merit, and the absolute greatest martial heroes acting as his mere attendants. This completely escalates the sense of Yudhishthira's supreme elevation from a political leader to a spiritually ordained sovereign. And then there's this incredible artifact, the big conch of Varuna. The source text tells us it was crafted by the celestial artificer Viswakarman with 1,000 nishkas of gold, and it was actually brought in a sling by the ocean itself. You know, this is a divine item, previously given to the god Indra in a former age. Having Krishna himself bathe Yudhishthira with this specific mythical conch adds an unbearable, legendary weight to the ceremony. Duryodhana isn't just fighting a man anymore. He is watching a man be crowned by the cosmos. Section 4. Conquering the Northern Sea. We move now to the sheer geographic supremacy of the Pandavas, showing how their influence reached the absolute edges of the known world. And this brilliantly illustrates the vastness of their empire. The text makes a fascinating comparison here. Normal people go to the eastern, western, or southern seas, but the Northern Sea? The text literally says none except birds can ever go there. Yet the Pandavas have expanded their dominion even there. How do we know? Well, because they brought hundreds of conches from that unreachable north to blow at the sacrifice. They literally achieved the geographically impossible. Section 5. The anatomy of envy. Let's just slow down for a second here. We've seen the objective grandeur, the wealth, the subjugated kings, the divine artifacts. Now, let's pivot our narrative from the external spectacle right into Duryodhana's internal psychological collapse and walk through this inciting incident step by step, exactly as he experienced it. First, Krishna bathes Yudhishthira with that divine golden conch. Second, hundreds of those impossible northern conches are blown simultaneously. The sound is so overwhelming that Duryodhana says his hair literally stood on end. Third, the sensory overload is so intense that the weaker kings actually lose consciousness and fall down. And fourth, the absolute worst part. The Pandavas and their allies look at these unconscious kings, look at Duryodhana in his pathetic plight, and they laugh outright. That humiliation is the breaking point. It shatters his spirit and he swoons away. And just to add final insult to injury, we see this number, 500. Arjuna casually gives away 500 bullocks with horns plated with gold to the principal brahmanas, and it's done with a cheerful heart. This casual, almost effortless display of staggering wealth just further fuels Duryodhana's feeling of utter inadequacy. What is a massive fortune to others is basically pocket change to his rivals. Because you see, Yudhishthira didn't just defeat his contemporaries. Look at these legendary names, Harishchandra, Manu, Bhagirath. By achieving this level of prosperity, Yudhishthira beat history itself. Duryodhana realizes that Yudhishthira has attained a status none of these mythical ancient kings ever did. For Duryodhana, there is simply no way to compete with a man who has transcended human history. It leaves him feeling that there's absolutely no point in continuing to live. So the crucial point is perfectly captured in this final, desperate quote. A yoke that is tied by a blind man becomes loosened. Even such is the case with us. The younger ones are growing, while the elder ones are decaying. This beautifully connects ancient myth to deeply relatable human psychology. Witnessing his peers' monumental success makes Duryodhana feel physically useless, irrelevant, and decaying. He says he cannot enjoy peace, even with the aid of reflection. His envy is literally consuming his physical form, making him pale and emaciated. Which brings us to a haunting final thought to wrap up this explainer. If a victory is only measured by how much it crushes your opponent, who really wins? Yudhishthira achieved ultimate prosperity, but in doing so, he planted the seeds of an envy so toxic, so deeply all-consuming in Duryodhana that it threatens to destroy everything. It leaves us reflecting on the destructive, poisonous nature of unchecked envy and rivalry. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this explainer gave you a brand new perspective on this incredible source material.